Kevin, obviously that was one of the tougher days running the ball you guys have had this season. Iowa was part of that, but when you re-examined that, where did you feel like you guys need to be better in that same situation going forward?
One, just staying on blocks. They did a really nice job. They're always good fundamentally, and I just thought their hand placement and getting off blocks, and we felt early, some plays that were maybe be 2 and 3, you need to get to 3 and 4, and as the game went along, you could get a little bit more. They did a nice job of not changing things they do, but we kind of felt even going into it, they're a quarters team, but we felt we'd get some edge pressures and single high looks, and getting them fitted up and just getting hats on hats, try to run some stretch plays where we bled it out, got a little thin, a little flat, and got penetration. So a couple negative plays got us, but just in general, they played better than us, and we got played better across the board. And inside a little bit, we got those guys. We got good players. Didn't maybe have our best game, so credit those guys. They kind of won some one-on-one battles, made some good plays.
Deep left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Kevin, when you guys are in a fourth down situation, kind of what's your philosophy on whether or not to go for it in that situation?
I think, it's each game's different. Weather, wind, situation, how you're playing. Coach years ago when I was working with Coach Stoops, he was very aggressive as a defensive guy because he kind of felt you need to get the first down because I don't know if we're stopping them. And I remember sometimes I told him, I said, I couldn't believe you went for that. He goes, I didn't matter. Years ago, I think everybody was critical. I think Coach Belichick, going against the Colts, went for it. He goes, well, whether I give the ball here or down there, he's going to score, so I need to get a first down. So are you in the mindset of you have to get the first down? Sometimes, we got a great punter that pooches it deep, and if the yardage gets to that 3 and 4 and 5 muddy area, maybe you just pooch it, pin them down, because your defense is playing really strong, and you can play 3 or 4 snaps and get it right back. That's in our plan to win. Field position's big in our plan to win. Part of field position is trying to get the first 2 first downs, get the ball to midfield. If you bog down, punt it deep, get the defense packed down there, and get it right back in midfield and start again. So, I think people got an analytically. People talk a lot about analytics. I think football coaches look at a piece of paper, and we all sit here for hours, and we plan and script everything. I think some of the greatest coaches in our game are basketball coaches that go on feel and flow. I need a timeout. I need to go full court. I need a zone. I need to pack it in. They make adjustments. And as football coaches, you have to make adjustments. I think the really good coaches, I think Coach Day does a great job. It's feel. And you feel like I need to go get it. Now we still got to trust the players and execute. Run play or pass play. The day of a short yardage fourth down, we threw it. But it's a one-on-one throw. It's a high percentage throw with a really good quarterback and a really good receiver. So you can say you didn't run it for half a yard, but it was a loaded box, more than you can block, and a good one-on-one match. So I think you got to trust your gut, trust your players, trust your judgment. And I think when you get greedy, you get burned for what it's worth. So you just got to be smart.
We'll stay out in the left field there. Tom Moore, Buckeye Huddle.
Just ask Jim this. When you first turn on the film to look at a new team, they haven't started evaluating it, what is the first thing you're looking at when you evaluate them? And just kind of walk me through your process of how you evaluate.
My process is different because a lot of years I've been in the box, so I don't like to look at words. Like we can put our video up and it says what the play is. I don't want to see the words. I want to get a snapshot because you got 2 or 3 seconds. Okay, where's the front set? Where's the extra backers? What's the coverage? What's the rotation? Did they blitz? Did they stunt? So it's like snapshot. It's like flashcards. Give me a flashcard. Give me a flashcard. So I just kind of rapid fire, look at it. We get several views of the game from end zone and sideline view. And initially, you're just getting a feel of the structure of what how the flow of the game. Sometimes we get snapshots, so you start looking at cut-ups and you just see certain plays. You get a feel. Sometimes it's really nice to watch the flow of the game more than just this formation and how they line up to this set and that set. So it's a combination of what are they doing, like. Typically, you watch 2 or 3. I watch 2 or 3 games Sunday night real fast. Just as there's a lot of man, a lot of zone, a lot of pressure, there's a lot of penetration, there's a lot of movement. What are you seeing just generally? And then you come in Monday and you start getting a little bit more specific. Okay, to this formation, what do you see? And then the next day, these situations, short yardage, goal line, long yardage, 2-minute, coming out, what do you see? So it starts with generalization. Who are their best players? What are the problems? This team's a pressure team. Okay, what are the pressure problems? This team's really good up front. This team's a great coverage team. What are the problems? And then you start peeling it back from there. And then Coach, what he does, he everyone has certain segments that, okay, go study this and bring some ideas to the table. We all talk about it together, but every guy has different areas that, quote, is their expertise they look at every week, and they'll bring some things to the table. And like, tomorrow we'll start with short yardage and goal line. Okay, what do you like? We'll bring me and Coach Fry will bring some things to the table with Coach Hinton and Coach Alford, and then we all hash it out and go from there. Third and long, what do you have? Hash it out, go from there.
Let's see, not left, Brendan Gooley, Buckeyes Now on Sports Illustrated.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask two questions that might even go hand in hand here. One about third downs and one about CJ. The idea that maybe third downs weren't as strong as you've often had them this past week, are there common threads there? And what were the things that you saw that maybe flustered CJ a little bit in the first half? Were there common threads there?
Yeah, I think the first half was kind of unusual because our defense created phenomenally so many short fields that their structure, like after the first couple of possessions, is like, well, what are they doing? I don't know. Is that a formation normal down call because we're on the field, or was that ball on the 20-yard line and that's a reduced red zone call? You saw that to that formation, first down, third down, whatever it was. But was that a third down red zone call or a third down call? And so it's kind of hard to kind of get in the flow because you want those things, but it was like a blessing of short fields, over and over and over, and had a hard time almost as good as it was. Just what throws do you have? The zones are getting condensed. What runs get working? And they're pretty daggum good. I think they'd only given up 55, 60, 70 points in the first 6 games. So they're a stout defense. So one, you got to give those guys a lot of credit, like we said last week. Problems on third down, I think it always just starts when our protection's good and our quarterback can stand in there and get through his reads and step into throws. He's going to be pretty good. So I'd always start with just making sure that what we're doing and helping our offensive line and whether it be the timing of throws to get them out on time, because, again, you're looking at matchups. I'd always tell, like my guys will tell you, they're not beating the guy covering them. They're beating the guy rushing the offensive tackle. Everything they're doing is relation to time and space. So how much time do you have? You can work this route all day, but you got 2.2, so you better be showing you're open because CJ's got to move because it's not lasting. So just coordinating time and space, protection timing, helping those guys out. But when protections are good, they did a really nice job, like all defenses, of showing early and making him read post-snap and making the pocket work post-snap. And the really great defenses make you work, and they made us work last Saturday, and these guys will this Saturday. It's a tremendous defense for playing this week.
Front row middle, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Kevin, we know about Marvin Harrison's work ethic. I want to know what you think his best physical attribute is. Hands, route running, speed, obviously size, whatever. What jumps out to you?
He's physically and mentally matured where he's strong, but he's got to be it's an unusual skill, I think. He is as tall as he is, he's actually somewhat not long-legged, which means he's very quick in and out breaks. Most tall guys can get a little cumbersome and long, and they're long striders. So for a 6'4" guy that has length and can go up and make plays on balls, have tremendous catch radius and great hands, he is a great top-end route runner because his legs probably match a 6-foot body instead of a 6'4" body. It just allows him to be really quick on the top end working breaks. It's an unusual skill set the way his body is gifted, and he's able to, he's got really good speed, but I think he's got unusual quickness for a young man that's that big and that tall and long.
Second row.
That's my opinion as an O-line guy.
Doug Lesmerises, Cleveland.com.
Don't add that qualification.
Kevin, obviously you're adapting in the midst of every game to what the defense is doing, but how do you strike the balance between we need to make adjustments, we need to maybe do some things differently, versus this was our game plan, we're going to grind it out, we're going to work it out, keep doing what we do in the midst of any game? Because clearly in the middle of the third quarter, you guys broke stuff open against Iowa. What's the balance like as you're working through a game?
It's hard because, again, we have a lot of plays, a lot of players, a lot of playmakers, try to get a lot of guys involved. As I said before, you can become a collage. I think I made a statement during the game, third quarter, and said, hey, what runs we really got? I said, well, Coach, let's talk about those runs we talked about halftime. Let's go back to those 2 or 3, kind of get it started. We'll be fine. Let's run those couple because you feel sometimes you're searching. You want so bad every play to work so well, stay on schedule, every play to be clean. And sometimes you're playing really good defenses. This time of year with weather, you got to play through the muck. And you got to be, a golfer that's a little bit off, but you can still scratch it around and kick it in the hole and make a couple ugly pars once in a while. And sometimes you got to be able to play through it. But you got to be, when you're off, you can't be off and hurt yourself. and you can't have the negative plays. You can't have the turnovers. You can't have the plays that get you behind schedule. Let the defensive front tee off in third and long situations. Coverage get multiple in the looks, third and long situations. So when you're a little bit off, how can you just minimize the ugliness of it to strain and stay on schedule and find the rhythm? And sometimes you just got to press pause and stay calm, and just, okay, let's talk about it now. Hey, no, let's just, this and this, what pass you like, what protection you feel good about, what run you like, and because I think once we get our guys in rhythm, especially with CJ, you saw the day once he kind of got in rhythm, but it's easy to get off. Just like those guys, my son's a college golfer. It's easy to be really good and just get a little bit off, and it doesn't take a lot to be off. I had a great coach one time years ago. It just takes a little bit to be off. When you're off, you're vulnerable. We're a little bit off the other day, but we settled back down against a good defense and got back on track, and that was good to see. It was good to be there. It was good to be at home. We'll get that again this week and see if we can be a little bit more efficient, get there quicker. But those challenges are going to present themselves in these next 5-6 weeks.
Front row right, Tim May, let him in a row.
Yeah. Kevin, when you're going against a defense with a player like Joey Porter, I mean, do y'all look at it as, number one, you don't want to let that guy take away something, that y'all like to do, and yet do you also kind of like get the adrenaline going? Hey, do we want to challenge this guy? You understand what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah, I think it goes back to
where
that.
does that fall? I mean,
Yeah, I know. It goes back to that I guess greed part. Just being smart. You can't just cross the guy off and not challenge the guy, but also you got to be smart. Years ago, we had a really good win at Miami. We beat Carolina, and Coach Walker said, "You throw more than 20 passes, we'll lose. We can't block these guys." And we threw 2 deep balls at Dre Bly, and he said, "Okay, you made your point. Don't do that ever again." So but it ain't like Joey's a great player. They have the other corner is equally probably overshadowed because of name is also. They're really good outside the corners. So our guys are going to have to work hard to get open and do what it takes to win the routes. We got to deliver the ball and go on time, but you don't shy away from it, but you just got to be careful, not be greedy as a runner, as a quarterback, and as a play caller.
As you play that in your head, also Michigan just ran the ball down their throat. I mean, for the most part. I mean, you had some big plays and stuff, but do you take all that into it? Because it looks like their secondary may be the strength of their defense, and up front there may be some hay to bail.
Yeah, and I don't know, Minnesota, I guess, has had some injuries, but then they came back last week against a team. Now I know with the quarterback situation, maybe the box got a little bit more loaded. But each week, one game on the road, one game at home, they play so much off the energy of what's going to be a great crowd, no matter what the kick time is. And the energy. So, we're going to have to block them up front. We're going to have to be smart and make the plays outside, but we're going to get challenged across the board. And we can't back away from the challenge, but we just got to be very aggressive, but very smart and calculated as we go.
Front row right, Austin Ward, Rivals.
You and Ryan don't script the opening drive. Has that philosophy changed throughout your career? Did you used to do that?
Yeah, I used to. When we put the 15, and I felt over time that you were trying to make everybody happy. Hey, we got to get their diversity, and hey, this guy needs a touch. Hey, make sure you run the naked to this guy. Hey, we need to get a counter play and come with the ball, and you were a collage of plays. And then over time, I just when I was up in the box, I just write down like, hey, 5 or 6 each time, and I just did it so I didn't go run, pass, run, pass, just to mix it up. Is your first play a run or pass? What you're doing on second down, run or pass? Just to kind of keep the defensive guy, off balance. He couldn't get a rhythm for what you were doing. So I go back to that comment about basketball coaches adjust where football guys have a piece of paper and follow the script. And the great quote is you have a game plan, you get hit in the mouth. What do? You have, every week here, typically, no matter what you prepare for, you get some curveballs because people are going to throw some stuff at us. So we have to adjust, have to adapt. And I think our kids are very much, I think Ryan made a great comment about our players the other day. He said, I think one of the greatest skills about our team is they love to play. They love the challenge of solving problems. And, okay, look, I didn't expect this guy to be as wide in this alignment. I didn't expect this defender to challenge me as much. I didn't expect this much pressure or movement up front. But now you're getting it. How do you handle it? Good teams handle it on the sideline during halftime and during the game. Bad teams come in on Sunday and talk about what they should have done. And so it's just nice that we, as we continue to get challenged, we keep problem solving. That's all football and offense is problem solving.
Front row middle, Dave Biddle, 24/7 Sports.
Kevin, I have a question about play calling. Obviously, Ryan has the final say, but how often do you call the play and he says, yeah, let's do that? Is that a pretty common occurrence?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, No one's taking credit for anything. It's just what we do, how we do it. I mean, he's got, he's the, like I said last week, the grand marshal of the parade running deal. But we throw some stuff. But you got to be careful. There's not a lot of talking during plays. I know for a long time having called that sometimes when the play is called before we run, hey coach, next play, hey, you think how about a counter? Hey, do you think we need a misdirection play? Do you think we should take a shot? Move the pocket. You don't do that right when he's ready to. So there's an art of when to talk, because too much talk leads to clutter. Leads almost, you've got a thought. I'm saying you hear something. It's like somebody throwing you a curveball there. Like, hey, well, where's that coming from? So there's a calculated way to work together, and I think we do that well. We do it really well. A lot of times, like, hey, Kevin, Justin, Tony, give me 2 runs, 3 runs this next drive. Which 2 do you like the best? And then sometimes he'll build the passing with that as we move down the field as we go too. So it's a collective effort. There's a little bit of talking, but typically it's once the play's called, hey, hey, coach, this one, if you want it, or don't say anything. It's done before the drive, and let the flow of the game kind of go. It's my opinion.
Right behind it, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Just based off Donnie and PJ's reaction, and also what actually happened, but whose fault was the strip sack, basically, and what was supposed to happen on that stunt? How were they supposed to handle that?
It was to the man side, the way we were sliding our protection, and we knew we were going to be in an empty formation. And we actually kind of decided, like, hey, we're going to do this. You're going to be an empty. You're going to get a twist here. And unfortunately, I think our inside guy just kind of buried his body and got stuck on the whole man and couldn't bump it off. So, it just wasn't executed properly. Two guys on 2, man scheme. Kind of felt there was a good chance it was happening. Just didn't execute it. Not blaming the kid. We just got to be better than that.
Got time for just a few more folks. Second row right, Bill Landis, Rivals.
Kevin, we saw a couple times on Saturday, you guys ran a play where Luke and I think it was Donovan pulled. I'm not sure we've seen the center guard combo pull like that before. It just feels like each week there's a little different wrinkle to the run game, something you guys sprinkle in. Was that the conversation you had in the offseason to make sure you're more purposeful about that? And then what have you thought of the run game mix so far this year?
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways to get on the perimeter. Sometimes you try to just gang everybody up in areas, zone, stretch, block, and work your spaces and get outside. Other times you try to use angles, and really that's not necessarily a new play. It's just based on the structure. If the tackle could be the puller, first puller, he has. Maybe it's the guard. Maybe the center has to stay on the down guy and the backside guard's pulling. Maybe the center's uncovered and he's pulling. So you're typically pulling 1 or 2 guys leading a little G, old green spread version of the Green Bay Packers sweep. And so the first puller out's the kick, second puller's the lead guy. In that case, when Luke and Donovan are pulling, or Matt on the right, first guy's to kick out, and Luke's up on the deal. So to do that, though, you got to be pretty good at tight end to handle that defensive end, because he's a man block. The tackle's got to block down to the guard. It's a man block. So when you pull guys, you got man schemes. So your men have to block those guys. And it was nice to get the guys pulling, but Cade did a really good job on that D. And when your tight end can't make that block, you got to do area zone blocking. And so that's just a variation of trying to get the ball in the perimeter. Run game's been okay. It's always hard. It's challenging. No matter how well we throw the ball, you have to put extra guys to stop the run. And no matter who the defense is, as good as our receivers, quarterback play has been, the college game is wired on making a team throw the ball. So when we get our run game going, we're really good. The other day it struggled for a long time to get going, and that's why we played some muddy football for about 2 quarters there. But if we can get the run game going each week with the skill guys, we got a chance to be a decent offense for sure.
Front row middle, Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Kevin, Ryan mentioned Chip Training's gone on the offensive side of the ball to help your depth at running back. Just what do you make of his ability as a running back from what you've seen in kind of a brief time?
We've done that back in preseason a couple days with when Evan Pryor went out, just in case, and it looked like naturally. I mean, he's a heavier load, but very good instincts, very good hands. Has played running back in concepts. We start saying it's 6-man pro, you got this, 5-man pro, you got this, 7-man pro, you got this run, you got this. So he's played it enough. He picks up well. Was a really good player, previous college and in high school. So he looks good, and if needed, he was doing well at linebacker, but they're a little bit more healthy, and he was playing special teams and down the road. And with our 2 backs having been gimpy, we thought we needed to get him back. So he's getting worked up, and I think he'll move forward as we keep going and get a little play for us.
Second row left, Steve Hellwagen, 24/7 Sports.
Yeah, Coach, I want to ask about Jackson. This is kind of an analogy. The train's going down the track at 30 or 40 miles per hour, and he's trying to catch it and jump on the back of the train maybe 8 games into it. Just how hard is it to bring a guy in? I know he's been in the program and everything, but for him to be performing at a high level within this offense when you guys have 8 games of momentum already built up, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure it's hard. I mean, it's probably less hard for him because he's played a lot and he's so gifted. But just emotionally, just your thoughts and as you're going through things, the stresses that you put on yourself, what you're trying to accomplish. I would always tell our team, like we go into situations and people talk about losing. You can't lose what you don't have. Like you never had this season. We don't have this game Saturday. You can't lose it. You have to go win it. You have to go win things. You have to do things. So, you can't live your life saying, what if? You just got to deal with some things. And it's unfortunate because he's a special talent, special player, a great practice player, an awesome practice player, one of the best I've ever been around. So for him to be where it is, but, the good Lord's got those plans. And, he's going to have a bright, long, great future, but short term, selfishly, I'd love to get him back because he's special and a great Buckeye. So we'll see what the short term goes. But, at the same time, in this day and age, these guys put so much stress and pressure on yourselves. You try to do as much as you can to be there and love them and care for them more than whatever. Just relax and trust the good Lord and trust what you're about because he is a tremendous talent and he's a better person. And we'll see where it goes for him.
Coach, thank you very much.
All right, guys.